Hello, my lovely anatomists and physiologists. This is our last video talking about those primary endocrine glands, where remember a primary endocrine gland is one whose main function is to make hormone. And what we're looking at here are our pictures from our lab model of gonads. So we can see here the testis, and over here we can see both ovaries, also along with the uterus and the fallopian tube. And I mentioned already that I've seen these listed as both primary and secondary endocrine glands, where secondary means that's like its second job. So with our gonads, we should think about their function as they probably have two equally important functions, which would be to produce the sex cells, the gamete, as well as the sex hormones. And so, of course, that's how we're placing these here in this category of primary endocrine structure. The hormones that we're talking about here, we see being produced by the testis, which is the singular version of the word testes. We see the hormone testosterone. And as we mentioned, both the gonads have the important job of producing the sex cells, and in this case, that's going to be maturation of sperm. But then we also see what we can call secondary sex characteristics. And we see that with testosterone, we see characteristics such as thicker cartilage in our larynx, producing a deeper voice. We see more body hair. So body hair gets distributed on the face, chest, back, is usually more prominent on arms and legs under the influence of testosterone. We see an increase in muscle mass with testosterone. And so these are the things that we would consider under the control of testosterone. When we talk about the ovaries here, we're going to see two types of hormones produced by ovaries. So we're going to get both estrogens, and this is a group, as well as progesterone. When we talk about our estrogens, this is going to be involved in the maturation of really, we're going to see those hormones, LH and FSH, more involved probably in the maturation of the egg cell. So what we can say instead here is coordination of ovarian cycle. We also see it involved in the menstrual or uterine cycle. And it's going to be the estrogens that are producing a different set of secondary sex characteristics. And here we see that these are increasing the amount and the distribution of adipose tissue. We see breast development. We see maintenance of pregnancy. We can also include like reduced height. So what we see with our estrogens, we talked about this in AMP1 when we talked about the skeletal development. We said that estrogens give us a faster epiphyseal closure compared to testosterone. So we typically see estrogens resulting in a shorter stature compared with development that's under the sort of control of testosterone. When we talk about progesterone, this is really going to be involved in regulating the uterine cycle, or what you can call the menstrual cycle, and then also maintaining pregnancy. The other gonadal hormone that we can mention is inhibin. And this has the same function, which is to inhibit the production of FSH. So it's very much doing this control of the sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. When we talk about the placenta, what we see with the placenta is this is an organ that's going to be formed during pregnancy, and it's going to be partially maternal tissue and partially fetal tissue. So it's actually this, it's kind of cool, right? It's this one organ and it's shared by two individuals. And we see that it will produce hormones. And the hormone that will be produced here is called human chorionic gonadotropin. And the human chorionic gonadotropin is really going to maintain the pregnancy. So we see it increases the progesterone production, really to help maintain that pregnancy. It's going to help prepare breasts for actual lactation. So we see that breast tissue is not prepared to do any kind of lactation until a pregnancy has occurred. And it's also going to prepare the pubic bones for delivery. So it's going to soften and widen the pubic symphysis. All right, last up, we have a video looking at those secondary endocrine organs. So stay tuned. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other.